World That Now, episode 2. Thank you. I am a poet, and I don't know it. Wow, it's crazy squelching. So Operation episode 2 was to interview homeless people. I spoke with 2 homeless people, both of whom denied to be interviewed. That is legit true story. I went to a bar, had a few beers, 3 exactly, 16-ounce craft beers that I enjoy. Sitting down next to an older guy, 56. He was, I feel horrible about the way I've aged, but I don't think I'll be looking like this dude. Yeah, I was going to change his name. I don't even care. I was talking to a guy at a bar, 56. He's a cab driver, and he's like, well, he first of all gives me the address of a homeless shelter that's like 0.7 miles from this bar, and I'm like, okay, I'll go there. I'll have 1 beer. Sorry about the crazy refocusing. My stuff is dinosaur run. No, he says go up here, and it's a share house in Vancouver, Washington. Kudos to them. He's like, no, I don't sleep there because he's not even a scared person. He's a Marine, actually. And my brother's a retired Marine Corps officer, so I get close to home. And my uncle's a Marine. I do love all the armed services. If any of this stuff ever comes off as anti-American, I am not. I think freedom is a beautiful thing and should be encouraged worldwide, certainly. I'm not really for one world government at all. I'm for small governments, 250 people max, because then you can hold your leaders accountable. And leadership, power, money, these things in 2017 seem to be too influential on modern society. I don't know how else to say it, but anyway, 56-year-old old Marine was woke, and one of the stories he told was in Western Africa, like the 12th story of a 15-story apartment complex. People in the early 80s were burning fire for heat because they had lost electricity. And these are the dilemmas of a bunch of countries on the west coast of Africa, Ghana, Sierra Leone, and several others. I'm not willing to get descript, neither was he. And I just think it's curious where people are at. So I knock on a handicapped guy. I drove a truck in Portland for 9.5 months here. And I knew there was a homeless community, and I also knew, for full disclosure, that they were kicked out by the cops. There was a lot of people in this community, and I think it was a good thing. When people can talk to other people, they tend to associate with society better, regardless of their current state. Anyway, I knew that they could kick people out of here, and then I go, and there's this bus that was there. It was like a recognizable bus, kind of a hippie bus, typical school bus, like late 70s probably. They got a generator outside the bus, bunch of gas cans. I don't know if they're full or empty, because I do not mess with anything that is not mine. But they had a ton of stuff on this bus, and it might have been just the one guy, but there's a handicap sticker there. So they kick out all the homeless community. It's like 50 plus people. And then this bus is still there because they got a handicap sticker. Probably spoke to the cops. The guy was a well-spoken guy. He popped out through the roof. So I knock on the thing. I knock again. I'm like, I was just trying to interview homeless people. And he's like, yeah, no, not here. And I was like, yeah, okay, you don't want to be interviewed. I was still sober at the time. And I was like, yeah, that's your right, and I understand. It's like people are scared, alright. So then I go to the on-ramp that I originally went. I was like, I'm going to interview a homeless person in the Couve. I live in Vancouver, Washington. It is across this bridge from Portland, Oregon. It is a traffic issue. Like, people often live in the Couve because they pay no state income tax. And then they work in Portland because Portland has the jobs. And then they shop in Portland or anywhere in the state of Oregon because they pay no state income tax. I'm like talking to this guy, Paul, 56-year-old retired Marine, and it's like, well, yeah, I mean, the things you're talking about economically to this area are language I speak. Like, I'm an experienced truck driver. I was making a ton of money for 9 months when I was out here. I no longer make a ton of money. Full disclosure. Anyway, yeah, he is saying, yeah, well, no, and Oregon taxes the bejesus out of these things, and Washington, he's like, no, those taxes will never go away. I'm like, that makes no sense to me, because no state income tax. There are 6 other states in the nation, okay, just in case you want to save state income tax. Texas, Florida, South Dakota, Washington, where I am now, and that's 4, so there are 2 other states. Texas, blah. I don't know, but it was an issue of why I moved out here. I can do my job, certainly driving a truck from anywhere in the lower 48, and to not pay state income tax, work for a company, Washington was attractive. And I didn't even work in Portland, and as a truck driver would have been immune. I'm just saying there's a lot of financial reasons I came out here for 15, 16 months. I'm kind of over financed. Anyway, yeah, I met several. So when I went to interview people in the Couve, there was too much traffic flow, and I thought, well, why there's no homeless people here with signs is because cars are going like 16 miles an hour, and it's absolutely pointless to try and collect money when cars are going 16 miles an hour. On this on-ramp, traffic is typically stopped. And my error in judgment is it was after about 11:30, a little before noon a.m. And yeah, people on the West Coast, the left coast, they sleep in. They're not as dominated by work as maybe anywhere else in the world. That's why my skills are so valuable here. That's why I laugh off anything about the interwebs and my lack of success in it, because it's like, well, I have real world skills, and just driving this truck, I can get a lot of trucking jobs. Any trucking jobs. Yeah, so got in the on-ramp, so traffic was not stopped. There was nobody on the on-ramp. I got out of my car, parked my car, went and walked, and what I wanted to do was interview people that I thought I would know, because I drove this on-ramp when I was driving a 26-wheel 100,000 pound plus hazardous materials carrying tanker truck. For 6 months I drove around this cloverleaf several times per day. And I was like, I'll see one of these guys, traffic will be stopped. Anyway, at 11:42, people hadn't woke up yet on 2 days before Christmas. No emergency! I'm gonna beat the traffic because the left coast sleeps in. 9 a.m. shoppers. Not enough to... I apologize for my curse word. Nobody is up on the left coast. So anyway, I drive around Portland. I know where they live. I see empty shopping ads. I see no peeps. I go to old thing. Guy pops out from the window. No, I don't want an interview. He's got a generator in his old school bus and way too many things. I'm an anti-consumerism. It probably wouldn't have been a great interview. So I go back to the cloverleaf. It's now packed up. So now I knew that because cars were stopping, that it could be lucrative 2 days before Christmas for a homeless person, or maybe Red, he said, is what everybody calls him. I saw him at the bar a couple hours later and made sure I caught his name. Red, yeah, maybe he's a businessman who has a sign that says whatever it said. I didn't read it, but I did give him $1, even though I'm totally broke. So I'm sub-broke, I'm sorry. I'm not. I wish I was broke. Anywho's, Yeah, so Red will not consent to an interview. I later saw Red take my dollar and several more and buy grass from the bar I was drinking at, which is ironic and kind of comical to me, but I'm so closer to pro-grass than pro-alcohol that it's ridiculous at this point. And it's legal in my state of Washington, so I don't know, Sessions. Yeah, bring it to the state of Washington. Seattle says that. Yeah, so Red doesn't want to do an interview. I talked to a 21-year-old young guy, don't want to name drop, and Red's not his actual name. I don't want to shock anybody. Old man Red that wouldn't do an interview and buys grass with my dollar and some other ones that he earned because he's still, I mean, you got to stand out there and hold a sign. And this is so not, I mean, I'm pro-homeless people, but guy at the bar, former Marine, told me that he was a cab driver and yeah, that some of these people make a pretty lucrative living. And that's like a common, I thought it was a misnomer, and I still kind of do. But I do respect my elders. Anyway, young John, 21, didn't want to talk to me. I legitimately scared a guy who doesn't look like me. I don't feel I need to describe the way he didn't look like me, because I figured that there's a human tribe. That is my theory. But I did tell him I was racist, and I told him I was racist against people who look like me. And that's kind of legit, and it's obviously not, it's not set in stone, and it goes just as a kind of playful aside to that. I love anyone who has given me a chance in life, like all my childhood friends, and most, all those people really are white. And I certainly love them a lot, but there's just, I don't know, I feel more psychopaths look like me. I'm anti-psychopath. That's all the psychobabble. I mean, you got 7 more minutes of content than episode 1, and I'm sorry I have no live interview. These people didn't want to be interviewed, and they're not even totally scared. But I'm just saying 2017 going into 18 in 8 days is goofy, and I love you all, and thank you for your precious time, and you are all precious to me.